Dear Venerable Sisters, Dhamma friends, we are going to have the talk today, the final one in the series. May everyone settle down for that and give the consent with 3 times sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Nama rupang bhikkhave viññāna nidānaṁ viññāna samudaya viññāna jātika viññāna pabhavanti. Dear sisters, Dhamma friends, we were dealing with this particular discourse delivered by the Buddha, known as Maha Thanhasankaya Sutta, and the basic idea or instruction the Buddha wished to give is how to do away with this desire and the craving. And the case history was that whenever Satis, Bhikkhu Satis, the pernicious view, the wrong view, the consciousness is permanent. Consciousness is continuous, one to the other. There is no other thing. So starting from that point, the Buddha first show the connection between the consciousness as an aggregate or all the 5 aggregates based upon the nutriments, 4 nutriments. So if one has no any idea or its grandeur nature, the depth of this terms nutriments, hardly they can understand, hardly they can rectify their doubts regarding 5 aggregates, including this viññāna, the consciousness. And starting from that, the Buddha is tracing back the root cause or the source, the origin for nutriments first, and then come to the desire or craving, and then come back to the feelings, and then contact, and then for 6 senses, salayatana, and then to the namarupa, that is the primordial form of the salayatana. And later the Buddha is asking, Namarupanchitam bhikkhave king nidānaṁ, and what is the root cause and what is the origin, what is the source for the namarupa, the materiality and mentality. And then the answer is viññāna nidānaṁ, that is consciousness is the root cause for the namarupa. And in the conventional way, what is the root cause of the viññāna is sankhara, volitional activities, and what is the root cause of the sankhara is for the ignorance. That is the way the 12 links is being depicted. In this Thanhasankaya Sutta also, the Buddha follow this linear system. The Namarupa is based upon or born and produced due to the viññāna, and therefore to understand the Namarupa you have to understand viññāna. But there are some other ways to produce or represent the same thing, such as the sutta we have taken for the Sydney discussion. It was known as Nalakalapa Sutta, where Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Kottita is discussing, and in that sense, in that sutta, Venerable Sariputta is taking this special link, the Namarupa and the viññāna, or the materiality and mentality as one aspect, and the viññāna and one aspect, and the reciprocal and interdependentship, viññāna pacca namarupa, namarupa pacca viññāna. And Maha Nidāna Sutta also, Buddha himself accept that's the most subtlest point, it's the most difficult thing to understand, therefore we have to sympathize Venerable Sati. It is not easy, it is not a gross mistake that Sati has done. And of course he has given a good topic for Buddha to analyze it under this question, misunderstanding, in front of the other monks. So that is how this Thanhasankaya Sutta came into being. So today we are going to deal how the Vijnana or consciousness gives rise or produce Nama Rupa, and if possible, how in return Nama Rupa gives an justification for the Vijnana, how that reciprocation or how that the vicious cycle is working. And according to the direct teaching of the Buddha, if someone to understand that link, he must shift the paradigm from the Putujana to Aryans, or he must be a enlightened being, and this is the test. And with that test, if you can see through, you will never remain as a Putujana or a commoner. Definitely you see through, or being that is so much pushing you for a difference or shifting the paradigm. Is it a question with the present tools we have, something like the language and the grammar, can we access that kind of a thing through theoretical knowledge, through deductive knowledge or inferential knowledge? So whenever it goes into that, the Buddhism becomes philosophy, and it's become very profound, and that is how the universities and the academic centers take this kind of links, and they try their best to explain with the tools available, the language, the grammar, the communication, and it never leads to any kind of a personality changes, because it will be just a philosophical game, a psycho-intellectual game. But we try to go a little beyond that with the explanation so far we have developed and carried up to now, and how much we can understand. For example, a contact to happen, there is a filtering beforehand. What you contact indicate who you are. But in the traditional way, after contact only you can take the responsibility. But in the interdependent relationship, it says, when it is contacted, already you are committed. Not that after the contact. So that is what in Madhupindika Sutta, when the Buddha is showing the sequence, he says, Pasapaccha Vedana, Vedana Paccha Tanha, Tanha Paccha Upadana. That is supporting that everything starts with the contact, and therefore beyond contact you can't comprehend, because everything comes into being after the contact. But when Venerable Sariputta is explaining the mentality in his Dhammajiva Sutta, he says first Vedana, then Sanya, then Sankhara, then only the contact happens, then Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Phassa, Manasikara. So before contact happens, your feelings or your pleasure principle already selected the item that is to be contacted. Your perception or your decoding, recoding business already filtered the object that you are going to observe. And your volitional activities, sankhara, then only you contact, whatever you contact taken into grant as a totality or it's a natural thing, but it is doubtful because by now it has been filtered. So therefore Vedana is before contact as well as after contact. Or you can say Phassa is before Vedana and after Vedana. So that kind of a reciprocality is very difficult to understand with this linear system, but that does not indicate our mind has no capacity to do it. Our mind has no ability to do it, but we are so conditioned along this linearity, linear system, and that is the main damage we do through the present-day education. Present-day education is linear. So therefore, more and more you educated, hardly you find the ability to think in a radical reflection, in this against the grain kind of reflection. That is why we get trapped in this vicious cycle. So each and every link in the Paticcasamuppada has forward and backward way, and two links, two sides of a link is mutually interdependent. So whenever you try to see it, you will be utter philosophical, and rather you get distance from the emotional approach of your life. Whenever you do not see this reciprocal interdependency, you will rather go into the emotional side, that's the tension and the frustration, and fail to understand its philosophical relationship. So therefore, in 1 second or 1 split second or 1 thought moment, you cannot be either a person with feeling or as well as a philosopher, reasonable, the reasoning person. So therefore, appear like impossible. But when you give liberal chances at a time to be emotional and at a time to be analytical, deductive, and accept both in a equal way and 1001 times, then only you can understand the conclusion is not limited to one side. Both are proving by itself. That does not indicate you are cheating yourself. That does not indicate you are slippery. That does not indicate you are escapism. You know it. You know the linear method as well as the reciprocal method. With that, in that respect, Namarupa Pacca Vijnana, Vijnana Pacca Namarupam is the most subtlest thing. And after Venerable Sariputta given, when the Kottita is asking, what is the root cause for the Namarupa? Verily, Venerable Sariputta says, it's the Vijnana, is the root cause or the source and born out of. Then he is asking, what is the root cause and the proximate cause for the Vijnana? Then he refers back to the Namarupa. Then he says, Bhante, so far you lead me in this linear system. Now you are talking about the reciprocal. How can I understand? And both of them are arahant. I doubt whether he is raising this question in his bewilderment or in confusion. He is raising this question on behalf of us. That is what we have to understand. Even after your full enlightenment, the communication is pervading further and further. It is not for your internal sasana or enlightenment of yourself, but this presentation and the maximum usage of the grammar, the maximum usage of the language is still a hobby. It's still the thrilling thing and gives thrills. So that is how the Tripitaka come into being. It's the highest aesthetic thing in the world. It is so connected to each other. Not only it is giving nutriment for the linear kind of thinking and learning, and it's invite you all the time to go for this radical reflection or radical way. Whenever that radical approach happens, you are no more the same person. You are not the person started this game, and you evolve and you shift the paradigm. So most important links are being recognized and Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, but each and every thought moment you are evolving. So people, those who are appreciating linearity, they are not happy. They are always waiting for hiatus, a big leap. They never consider each and every step you are taking is a leap. Then only ultimately it becomes a irreversible thing. So therefore, understanding the Namarupacha Vijnana, Vijnana Pacha Namarupa, the Venerable Sariputta says, sometimes people understand the message through analogies or examples. So therefore, I would like to say, Seyatapi also, Dve Nalakalapyo, Anyamanyan Nisai Titteyu. Then the Venerable Sariputta says, 2 bundles of reeds or bundles of bamboos inclining or leaning each other apart from the bottom and leaning and touching each other on the top. Something one sheets or one bundle is the Namarupa, the other bundle is the Vijnana. If you push the Namarupa, Vijnana will collapse. If you pull the Vijnana, Namarupa will collapse. So therefore they are working interdependent way. It's a kind of a reciprocal way. So as far as ego is there, you can't look it. You can't see this. You have to observe in a egolessness way. You have to look at Vijnana is better than Namarupa or Namarupa is better than Vijnana kind of a measurement. There won't be any kind of a conceit. And you should not have any desire, Vijnana against Namarupa or Namarupa versus Vijnana, or even understanding this versus misunderstanding. Even that is disturbing you. So because by understanding, no more self remains. So therefore, understanding and not understanding, misunderstanding, they are reciprocal each other. So ultimately, therefore, the Buddha is telling your avidya or your ignorance is resting upon vidya. That means if you know you are utter fool, that is your wisdom. If you do not know and still you are trying to behave like a fool, a wise person, no medicine. You cannot be cured. So therefore, understanding our lack of understanding, our misunderstanding or misconception is a very interesting thing. It must be our main hobby with respect to our each and every experience, with respect to our each and every encounter, with respect to our each and every confrontation, avenuing. If you have that kind of openness, such a person can understand the Namarupacha Vijnana and Vijnanapacha Namarupang. So, according to the yesterday's line of argument, we will say we have 6 salayatana, that means eye base, ear base, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. They are sensitivities. Eye sensitivity, ear, nose, and they are sensitive. Eye is sensitive only to the forms or colors and the light, or shapes and the colors, not to the sound, not to the smell. So they are specific. Only that their very impingement should come and avenued into the eye sensitivity, then only it gets stirred, not by sound, not by smell, not by taste. Equally the ear only will be stirred or stimulated by sound waves, not by the others. So within a person, you don't know, eye is always capitalizing an imperialistic way, suppressing all the other. It is try to show powers to make yourself a seer. And it hates listening, suppressing mercilessly, smelling, tasting, touching. And whenever the tricks and the dirty things of the eye sensitivity suppressed or weak, then ear is taking the upper hand. Soon it do the same principle. It suppresses everything. And then only the nose, and then only the tongue. The last is the one called the Buddha, the body tactile sensation or body sensitivity. So therefore the Buddha says, eye is responsible for most of our defilements. Then the ear, then the nose, then the tongue. And if you can, as a beginner, start with the body, you are starting with a simple task, not a very complicated, tricky thing. So therefore, for the moment, compromise to close your eyes. That institute is temporarily closed. And go to a silent place, so that your listening business is no more. And then don't entertain smells, and go to a normal ambient or normal atmosphere and don't entertain taste. And I would add, don't entertain talking. Because both of them are coming out of the same bloody cavity, the tasting and talking. So therefore, this is the most tricky thing, and that is, you may find the most difficult thing. And then, only then you can come to the body. So that is how Kayanupassana are kept in the first, and the materiality become first. Not that it is most important and most profound and most subtle. It's the most gross and most easier point. Yatha pakatam vipassana biniveso. The normal norm is start wherever it is prominent and conspicuous. So the Buddha suggests body. And whenever you try to keep the body in view with, or to be aware, or to be mindful, or to be vigilant with, simply you have to understand, in order to be aware here and now, you have to forget about the rest of the world. That is the difficult task. Even for a split second, we can't forget about the rest of the world, or past of the rest of the world, future of the rest of the world, places of the rest of the world, people of the rest of the world. So we find very difficult to confine our attention to what you call the body. And if you can be aware that my mind is now confined to my body, that's the biggest generosity. You have given up before your death. But you know where your mind is harboring and establishing and anchoring, taking the benchmark, taking the reference point, take what is taken as the object of meditation, that you say the body or the corporeality. Or within that only the in-breath and out-breath, rising and falling, or maybe in walking, left leg and the right leg, and all the things can happen. So bringing the attention to the body and verily understanding with my whole restrainment, now I am with my body, or here now I am, it is more than Sotapanna. It is more than Sotapanna, but no one is appreciating. They wanted to have bigger things rather than appreciating what is possible, what is under one's very nose. And it is then and there you have to do it. And when and where you go there, you can verify yourself, but there's a little disadvantage. Unless otherwise you maintain this thought moment for consecutively 5, 6, 7 thought moments, you can't verify whether your body, your attention is with the body or not. When and where body you become attentive, aware of your body, in that very thought moment you can't verify it. It's a law. It's a principle. So next moment and next moment and next moment, then only through the familiarity you can understand, but my attention is not the past, not the future, not the other place, not the other people, but here and now. And when you come there, that is a kind of understanding, salayatana, by delimiting it to one aspect. By discreetly understanding, now I am in the kayayatana, and try to keep in view it. It's very difficult, like tightrope walking. It is very difficult, like crossing a footbridge. But anyway, if you are really serious, and when you can understand, then and there understanding, then and there experience, one day you will take it as a challenge, how much I can be with the body or corporeality, in specific maybe in breath and out breath and the rising and falling, whatever may be. So then, now you are achieved majority of your spiritual life. But now you have to see temporally what are the changes of the object of meditation that you have selected against time, when you keep on observing. So therefore you have to not to agitate it. Once you have make sure the body is in view with, or corporeality in view with, put into autopiloting. And the Buddha says, quicker you put into autopiloting, quickly it is calmed down. More you try to be analytical, then you are agitating it. So therefore it is natural to happen. It is not a crime. But you must understand what must be your adverting to keep the materiality in view with, and then let it happen. When it is happening, anything you observe continuously, thing become bored, thing become monotonous. And that we in day-to-day life consider as a misfortune, bad omen. And we consider it in the destructive way. But the Buddha, with his whole effort, with his whole teaching, with his whole example, or the role model, he says, please, consider this whenever you observe same thing again and again, the boredom happens. Consider this as an endowment. Consider this as an benefit of your meditation, and don't try to push it. And see how that attractive thing or neutral thing slowly becoming bored, monotonous. And when it is happening, see how much entertaining of doubts happen, how much you feel uncertainty, fearful, beyond your control. And there only the Buddha says you must have faith, you must have your moral integrity, you must have the background, history of your mindfulness, and when and where it is happening, you know my faith is not changing even the object is disappearing. My faith is not challenged by the doubt even the object is disappearing. My precepts are not disturbed by object even becomes subtle or medium. And whatever the doubt, whatever the fear happen, that cannot destroy your precepts or morality. And on top of that, if you can maintain the confidence on the mindfulness, whether the object is gross or subtle or imperceivable, mindfulness is intact, that is the way you develop confidence. More and more you go there, one day, of course now we are after consecutive 5-6 days in the meditation, some understand now that very institute also becoming unperceivably subtle. That means all the 6 institutes, ayatanas, you have due to your restrainment, bring it to almost nothing. And now what do you experience? You have an experience, and you can't say this is materiality because the grossness, concrete nature is gone. You have a feeling, you can't claim it as a pleasure or pain. Or sometimes it is not up to the mark of the no pain, no pleasure. But you can't deny that there is no feeling. And there is a kind of a perception, not auspicious, not unauspicious, not gross, but there is a perception to say you are not dead. And there is a perception to say you are not sleeping. And there is a perception to say you are not unconscious. Because you know from the gross level it has come down. And you can see manipulations. Mind is up to any doubt now. Mind is up to any uncertainty. To do this thing or change your posture or introduce new subject or inquiring about that, asking questions. All these are there but not manifested yet. Your volitional activity, your will is there, but at the very primordial form, under such circumstances, the vijnana become weaned off. Vijnana has no tricks can play. So that also comes to the bare minimum. And under such circumstances, if you are to understand this is the least amount of defilements in your stream of consciousness, how about the next thought moment or so to keep it in this low ebb or still lowering? That is what you call bhavana or growing, cultivating. Bahulikata, make it familiar. Make it, you master it. And ultimately it is painfully slow. So all the activities, so to say, materiality, feelings, perception, volitional activities, and the consciousness, you can't deny they are not there, but they are at the very lowest ebb. They are at the datum level. At that moment, you can say, now you are experiencing the nama rupa. It's like something like you see the white light. It has not gone through the prism and make 6 colors. 6 colors are very colorful, but everything absorbed back and become white. Light is there, but not attractive, like gone through a prism. So now you have come to the primordial form. So people with go-go show, people expecting the dramatic life or eventful life, they hardly see this is like white light, or this is just like water without any addition. So they feel it's a wastage of time. But the Buddha said, this is the time your life is total. Everything is there. That is what they call the contentment. That's what called the peace of mind. That is what you call the solitude. Whenever it is manifested to light, of course it will be different shapes and colors. You can explain, put into words. You can communicate to the dear and near one, but by selecting light you suppress 5. So you are not paralyzed. Worse than paralysis, because the paralysis sometimes is 50%. This is more than 50%. If you have any chance and if you are selected to be a listener, you are automatically suppressing others. But here, nothing manifested. It is in the primordial form. Is vocal, we call the potential. Prabhava. That has the potential. So that potential, whenever you try to appreciate it, verily you understand it is not yours. It is cosmic. You can't say this much is my understanding. This is not for me and not me. Relationship is not there. So how much you must familiarize this Nama-Rupa level to see its attributes. You can't, because you are in fear. You are in allergic reactions. You are with phobia. So the Buddha says, in order to get rid of this allergic reaction, have faith, have your moral integrity, have your historical pathway, the episode by episode, how did you come up to that level, the primordial form, and when you can keep it there, you can't claim that I am keeping. But there is a method, there is a patipada, that is to say, not doing something. Not manipulating. So when that is happened, that is so poisonous for your consciousness. But the consciousness is such a Machiavelli. It's always try to separate this into good and bad, correct and wrong, justifiable and unjustifiable, all the kind of thing. So therefore, don't giving any chances. Keep Nama-Rupa as Nama-Rupa. There is a kind of a consciousness. The Buddha says, unfounded consciousness, apatitita viññāna, or anidassana viññāna. So these terms, whenever we try to put into words, you lose the spirit. But you can go in there and experience, and of course you may be copying that terminology. My potential is there, not manifested. When it is there, no problem or no responsibility of maintenance. And whether you explain it or not, your endowment, you can entertain it. And only the problem happens if you wish to give this auspicious message to your dear and near one. You understand, moment you try, you have to lose. You have deprived of this peaceful or solitude or contented situation, or that is called Maha Karuna. You are leaving aside, you are in a wisdom because it is not manifested, it is totality, but you can compromise it with the Maha Karuna. Whenever it is going to Maha Karuna, maybe I am wrong, I may criticize, you become Mahayana Buddhagama, Mahayana Buddhist. Whenever you try to be here, you feel like selfish, and you feel by your role model, the silent sermon will go. If it is necessary, you will perform and do it, but it is not your prime important thing. First establish it, first season it, first master it, and then you can think about the communication. If at all, if you are full of Maha Karuna, so they are appear like antagonistic. Of course, they are not antagonistic, they are complementary, not contradictory. But if you are thinking about showing off, advertising, marketing, then you get trapped. So the Buddha says, first and foremost, mind your own business. So I have my motto, be mindful and mind your own business. So people say that is very selfish. But we have limited time, we have limited resources. Once that is established, you can understand and how to keep others understand. So when that kind of primordial form is available, there is a kind of consciousness. That consciousness and this primordial form is reciprocal each other. That reciprocality never you can understand through egotistic effort. Never you can understand with this conceited idea. Never you can understand with how to grab the lion's share or how to grab the desire. So therefore it must digest into itself. That is called bahulikata, repetitive application. And if you ask Buddha, if you ask Dhamma, if you ask Sangha, what is the way to master it? What's the way to make it your second nature? What is the way to be at home? Bring your at-home feeling, sila. Samma vacha, samma kammata, samma ajiva. Now you are in a very deep layer, involved understanding. So that understanding is momentary. And no one is deprived of that. Of course, those who are following the path. Once you go there, it says you have the potential. You are potential enlightened being. But how to make it realized? Utter only the terms which is conducive for you, for your solitude, for your contentment, for your peace of mind. Do the task, bodily activities, only which is conducive for this solitude, for peace of mind and your contentment. And live a way of life, live a livelihood so that it is conducive for your solitude, for your peace of mind and your contentment. So therefore again a relationship between this wisdom and the morality come into being. So this is the part the scientists lost. This is the part the philosophers are hating. And this is the only part the religious people, they nourish it, they flourish it. They try to understand more and more you to become wise, more and more you to become restrained. Self-restrainment or physical verbal restrainment. So for the scientists as well as for the philosophers, you are becoming inmates of a open prison camp. Why should we have restrainment? Because it is something related to wisdom. But if you can't see this relationship, you will be tasting momentarily, never you go into realization. So understanding the relationship with between these, how the vijnana, when it is the minimal level, not that it is dead, it's at the datum level, how recognize the nama rupa, the primordial energy, which has not been manifested as matter or feeling or perception or volitional activities, but potential is there. And once you developed, once you familiarize it, even that nama rupa manifested as rupa, you know it is a game, you know it's a dream, you know it is a camouflage, you know it is a eccentric. So therefore, even if it is manifested as rupa, even if it is manifested as vedana, sanya, sankara, you never take them as refuge. You know they are holographic photos. So you can put the hand in the photo, that means it is not concrete. So that is the point the Buddha says, mano pubbangama dhamma, mano setta, manomaya. The whole dhamma is based on your mind or the consciousness and mind-made. Mind is the forerunner. So unless you come up to that level through your experience and to realize it, still you can utter these Dhammapada verses by hearting, but that does not make any paradigm shift in yourself. So when you are practicing, you can understand each and every phenomena has two facets. One thing is the conventional facets after the prism, different colors, and other facet is before the prism, the white light. So white light can appear, manifest as all the colorful panoramic color separation or original form. So people be chasing behind the pleasure principle, people chasing behind the materiality and the luxurious thing, they are very happy with this panoramic color and contrast, language, poems, grammar and everything. But when it comes to the white light, something like the water without any color, smell, shape, taste, that's the most purest form, but it's boring. It's monotonous. So therefore, right from the beginning, or maybe after the retreat, or after your full understanding of the Dhamma, you have to understand that your approach, your viewpoint, how to look at them, that is very important. Even in the panoramic world, with the colors, if you know everything coming out of this white light, the pale light, though the source is bored, monotonous, and this is just a camouflage, that's a color separation. And likewise, when you are in a dream, you have no any limitation regarding the ethical boundaries or any kind of thing, so you are happy to be in the dream, and that is the only place your relaxation happens. Otherwise you go mad. If you consecutively 3 days, if you are not going to have sleep, finished. But it is a dream. But a dream is not just mere not something to be negated. It is a service, it is happening. So imagine a person can go to dream and understand, I am in a dream. That is what you call the enlightenment. But if you are going to appreciate dream after getting up, so you are not in the present moment. So is it possible, when you are desire with your desirable object, to understand that I am not only with the object but with the desire, so that desire won't make any damage. Maybe you are with the hateful object, verily you know you are seeing or touching or whatever may be with the object, and underlying tendency is the hatred. So much so, you are immunized. You can't, that cannot be infested you. So therefore, does not indicate that throughout that you are with the white light. Definitely you can go to the panoramic thing, but you never take it as concrete. You understand it's another representation. So therefore, whenever the Nama-rupa Vijnana Nama-rupa relationship is happening, that may be in the deep meditation. But that does not indicate your whole life you are cross-legged sitting and closed eyes and meditating. So you are applying it whenever you have desirable sound or undesirable sound, whenever you have the desirable pain, feeling and undesirable feeling, whenever you have your thinking and what is happening like thinking, all these things you find, it's a manifestation of that, the monotonous thing or potential thing. So whenever you go to that level, you find it is not the result of your meditation. It's a birthright. It's a birthright of non-meditators also. It's a birthright of any human being. Of course, it is something different from the animals and the humans. But the Buddha, he make it not an accident, systematic way. He bring it to there. And that does not indicate you have to live only the life with the cross-legged and closed sights and the concentration. And if you can't make use into your day-to-day life, it's utter wastage. You are not entertaining it. So therefore, go into it. When you go there, go utmost to the lowest primordial form of your vijnana and most primordial form of the Nama-rupa. And Nama-rupa is due to your vijnana. Now, vijnana is to justify the Nama-rupa. They are happening when you die. They are dissolving into the cosmic energy. nothing to maintain. As far as Salayatana is there, as far as the being is there, your maximum must be to keep it in a low ebb. Restrain as much as possible so that you are not contributing to the global heating. You are not contributing to the environmental pollution. You are not contributing to a mental pollution. Of course, there is pollution, minimal. As far as you are living, it's a burden to the world. But if you are using this burden to understand the truth of suffering, the Buddha says you are making use the opportunity. Other than that, if you are going to live long here, ultimately you are fulfilling your toilet only. And end up with fulfilling symmetries. Nothing. Rebirth and everything. But if you are understanding this for to realize then and there, then the Buddha says, you are not a human, you are superhuman. So the link is understanding the Nama-rupa and Vijnana. Vijnana as Nama-rupa. So to come up to that level, you must be fairly free of the world and go deep into that. And ultimately you will understand the natural phenomena happens. Part of it you recognize as me. Moment you recognize, you have to maintain it. Moment you recognize it, changes of that create frustration, creates friction. And instead, if you can, even that is given and understand, this is a cause and effect relationship. Before you were the birth also, it was there. While you are observing also, this is there, here. And after your death also, it is there. Why should you claim my share or my part? The punishment is the tension. The punishment is the frustration. So if you have to have a love for frustration and the tension, otherwise you can't claim me, mine and myself. Whatever you claim me, mine and myself is nothing but this frustration, this tension in its absolute terms. So understanding that is not a negative thing. It is not a nihilistic thing. It's not a destructive thing. It's very interesting. But if you go to the linear relationship, if in this particular sutta, the Buddha is asking what is the root cause, what is the source and origin of the vijnana. It's a sankhara. Sankarpacca vijnana. Sankhara means the volitional activities. Your vijnana is imprisoned to your volitional activities. You're always driving with your motivation. Motivation decides who you are. So therefore you understand whether you are in a inmate of an open prison camp or inmate of a rigorous prison or outside, you are already caged, egged due to your volitional activities. Because you recognize yourself that my wish, my ambition, my family ambition, ambitions of my dear and near one, even in the sleep, they are not escape. But it is your own imposing. It is not a must. Or in other sense, you can live without that. Because it is a cause and effect relationship. So, but any person will say the will to power, or will to have one-upmanship, or conceit, make your imprisonment or punishment. So therefore, if you are to look any intention, any volitional activity, coming out of Tannamana Ditti or desire or conceit or egotistic, then easily you can understand others. Each and every person. Easily you can understand your past. And easily you can predict your future. Because it is universal. It is not limited to your limited understanding. So therefore, go into deep, appear like selfish, appear like destructive, appear like escaping from the world, appear like evading, but once you get the gist of it, or holographic understanding, immediately you can put into the other world, and you can see, even though you start with the here, now I am, not here become past and the future. Me become all beings. Now become past and the future. Here become the whole universe, not only this earth. The all cosmic relationship you can understand up to the point the clarity you go deep and deep and deep into one thing. So therefore, sankhara, even though it's a progeny of the very vijnana, ultimately progeny, its own creation, is caging it. So that is what the Putujana is. If you know my caging is due to my Sankhara, and Nalakalapa Sutta, it's a very nice questioning, it happens. Is this Sankhara is produced by me, or produced by others, or produced by the me and others, or is it beyond and away from me and others? The Venerable Sariputta says, it is not you, it is not others, it is not you and others combination, it is free of both. If it is you, you must have your proper sankhara, and you can plan tomorrow onward, but you know addicted people, even if they know it is wrong, even if they know it is destructive, they can't do, because it's an addiction. And their parents and the benevolent people are very happy to get rid of them that, but even with the help of him, can't, because it's a momentum. It's the acceleration. The acceleration is unhuman. So you can't say me, you can't say others, you can't say me and others, you can't say not me, not others. That is why Venerable Sariputta is, specifically in this particular sutta, it is because of your ignorance. You don't know how your progeny is killing you. Pemato jayati soko, whatever you develop desire, whatever you keep them as dear and near, they are the people creating or tormenting you or torturing you. So it's a torturing machine. So more and more you have dear and near ones, more and more torturing, more and more burning. So, and the other thing is you can't do away with also. So minimum, do with the bare minimum, that is what you call living upon your basic needs. And go back to the utility value. Whenever you go for luxury, whenever you go for consumerization because of the big advertisements, or because of big media, because of the power of the politicians, because of the bloody fool economists, and because of the so-called socialists creating the heaven, if you are away from the utility value, you are answerable. So that is why the Buddha, born in the royal family, he went back, he went to the forest and lived upon the clothing given by someone, food given by someone, dwelling given by someone, medicine given by someone. And openly he says, yes, I am depending on these four. All the four depend upon you, what you give, and I know how to put it in the maximum use. So therefore, understanding the relationship with the sankhara and vijnana, your motivation, your will, your determination, your mental power, everything works negative you. Everything is distorting you to understand the mere vijnana, or the primordial form of the vijnana. And that is your starting point when you born as a newly born baby. It was there, but it is not manifested, not multivarious, not creative, not productive, but the vijnana as vijnana. So creativity is no harm, as far as you know, it's a disease. Productivity is no harm, as far as it's a disease. It is not your, it is not for your credit. You have to, you can't do other than that. So do it. Understand it's a kind of a disease, and whenever possible, be contented with here, now I am, or be mindful and mind your own business. So then you can understand your volitional frame bubble is completely deciphered out of the ignorance. More you ignorant, more you foster your intentions, your will, your determinations, your expectations, and so much so your vijnana is utter in vacuum, utter in lacunae, utter is greediness, utter in expectation. So it is created, it never allow the nama rupa to be there, always jump up to the salayatana level, and more you go to the salayatana, you become paralyzed. But anyway, at the salayatana level only you can talk, you can be creative, you can be productive. So never leave the potential energy as bare minimum potential, or let the vijnana to be unfounded kind of vijnana, you feel like outcasted, you feel like alienated, you feel like boring, you feel like monotonous. So therefore you try your best to keep this boredom away by hobbies and entertainment and recreation. So today world is full of that. So if you are going to measure the development of the nation, development of your personality through this kind of thing, you can see what a kind of a bubble, what a kind of a dream you are living. So therefore when you come back, we call retreat, insight, backward. So therefore on the way what you see, the milestones are nothing but boredom and the frustration. It is outlook of a putujana. Otherwise, you try to get rid of this boredom and frustration by desire and craving, and you prescribe that for your children also. But when and where you understand the road sign or milestone appear like boredom and the frustration as a reason to be glad, that is the shifting of the paradigm. That when it is happening, the Buddha is giving the whole linear relationship, avidya paccaya sankhara. The ignorance is leading to your volitional dream world, and sankhara is creating your due consciousness over there, and consciousness understand out of the whole cosmic energy, you call this is my Namarupa, and don't leave it there. You make it salayatana and manifest into all the sixfold way, and then contact, then feeling, then desire. So it is continuous. And then asking the disciples, do you know or do you accept all your volitional activities is nothing but due to ignorance? Yes, Bhante, yes. Then you know all your volitional activities and will and everything is always creating a limited consciousness, not the contented one. Yes. And that limited consciousness cannot live unless otherwise hold a certain amount of Namarupa out of this whole universal consciousness. Yes. And it can't wait there, creative, productive, multivarious into 6 sense doors or 6 sense bases. Yes. And whenever 6 sense bases, you can't keep it idling. You have to have interact and contact. Yes. When you one contact, others 5 close, you don't know. Moment you interact or contact, you censor it with feelings, pleasurable pain. Yes. So out of whenever it is separated, you are always chasing behind the pleasure principle, tanha. Yes. Whenever tanha is happening, you try to grab hold, you try to claim me as mine and absorb into that, holding into that and grip. Yes. Whenever that upadana is there, you become that. You recognize with that on your habitual thing, bhava. And as far as bhava is there, jati, and consequently, jara, marana, soka, parideva, dukkha, domanas. The whole gamut of suffering happened based upon this ignorance. After that, then the Buddha is asking, okay, now we are here because what? To get rid of this suffering. Jara, vyadi, marana, soka. In order to that, you have to understand this whole bunch is of, if I am to enumerate a single cause, jati. But your foolishness is, after jati, you try to get rid of jara, marana. No. After jati, only you can understand this whole dukkha is due to jati. So you have to not to give new births or new things. Instead, see what is the package in your jati and put up with. And in order to get rid of that, don't go for craving other new existence. And then only you can understand as far as the existence and bhava, being is there, jati is happening, so don't appreciate it. The beings, to be existence, you should have nutriments called upadana. That means your habitual, your possessions, your achievements, your gains, your fame. So moment you appreciate it, hard-earned fame, gain, everything, the upadana become more nourished. So therefore, if you have to deal with this kind of your personality, your likings and disliking, your earnings, the craving for that, you have to understand. So likewise, he is completely bringing back again to the forth and back and forth, and to understand, if you have that kind of a clarity, you never hold into one link of this Paticcasamuppada. Vijnana is permanent, others are not. No grounds. Because you know only the Vijnana is, even a root cause is subject to the change. So when you give there, sati may be mistaken only by grabbing hold into the Vijnana. The other beings may be holding into the Sankhara, they are volitional activities, or some other may be recognized with their perception, some other may be recognized and performing their feelings and materiality, but the same answer given to the sati is applicable for all the others. So therefore sati is not a special, extraordinary wrong man. He is representing each of us. And therefore this particular discourse is applicable, but don't think that you have to understand everything to get rid of your disease. You have to understand, your diagnose, the hitch where you get hooked up. And that is the one prominently appearing in your consciousness. So therefore whatever arising prominently and conspicuously, it's a gift in the sense. So therefore study it with the diagnostic approach. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to find answers for that. Moment you understand the content of it with a neutral mind, non-judgmental mind, unassuming mind, don't do anything. Let open the consciousness to happen, things as they are, and try to understand in a diagnostic way, and no external person come into your screen and say. And if you can't explain what you see, other person can't come into your dialogue. Both of them are a severe restrainment or blockages in our communication. Only the faith can alleviate little bit of, only the restrainment can make the line little bit straighten, and the mindfulness can keep the whole panorama open. Then only we can be still humble and honest, down to earth, a beginner's mind, and keep the situation open. So healing, if at all, or giving an answer or diagnosis at all can happen. So the problem or this crux happen through aeons of time. So don't expect the relieving happen in overnight. It appear like happening overnight, but it's the straw breaking the back of the donkey or the camel is the story. Slowly when it appear heaping up, putting more and more straws on the camel's back. When you add one straw, the bone of the camel will break, but not that the last straw. So lenient people understand this whole profound thing in the linear way. They are always waiting for that straw. This can break the back of the camel. It is the cumulative effect. So therefore, whatever the effort, whatever the time, whatever the knowledge you invested on meditation, never go in waste. We can't say any mistakes in meditation. Whatever the trial and error you do, that is ultimately become your backbone and your teacher. So therefore, hope this sutta, as well as this particular series of talks, as well as our sittings and walkings and all the question and answers, will help promote and to alleviate our doubts and to make the path clear, come into the more and more frictionless way, and with that we can see in near future the reducing of our frustration, reducing of our tension. And when it is happening, don't stop at that level. Live such a life, live a way of living. It will be a silent sermon for our near and dear one, rather than giving properties and all kind of thing. So your silent sermon is your behavior. So more and more we practice, more and more become mature, understand the Dhamma. So ultimately each and everyone will be a lighthouse, beaconing the light, so others can absorb, whether they are religious or not. Our good vibration ultimately may be a little contribution to the global heating, little contribution towards the environmental pollution or not polluting, and more contribute to your relief from your tension. With that intention, with that advice, I would like to sum up the today's talk as well as the series of talks. Thank you very much for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now Ramani will lead the balance of the meeting. Tirata. Anyone who knows Barbara? So we are missing, but anyway, Barbara is always with us. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You have questions? So we will invite Ananda to present it as usual.
Dear Bhante, this question is about the chitta or mind itself. My understanding is that it is like the microphone amplifier. Whether the speaker talks to the microphone,
but if the speaker is not talking to the microphone, then useless.
Maybe referring to me. Whether the speaker talks to the microphone or not, amplifier works continue. Like that mind begins at the birth or at the conception and ends at the death. Whatever remaining is carried to the next birth by consciousness. Am I correct?
No, the usage of terminology. Sometimes the chitta is the consciousness. So it is try to understand two different things. And something episodes-wise, at the birth, at the end. But that process, not this birth and end, is nothing for this consciousness. You are talking about with the space and time, but the consciousness is naturally beyond the space and time, because you so much love what is in front of you. You can't see the whole picture. When you see the whole picture, what is this life? What is special here? Nothing. Tatra tatra abhinandati. Whatever comes forward, you grab hold it. And if you release it, you get the whole world. When you are grabbing hold to your dear and near one, you are doing away with the whole world. So if you wish to be omnipresent or omnipotent, just give up what you call this life. This is what you call me, mine and myself. So therefore, don't explain the situation. Don't try to explain the situation with this narrow scope. So this is what I call the lenient or linear relationship or reductionism. Reductionism is a tool, but not applicable for every time. So therefore, this is a kind of a presentation of a one person. So it may be a starting point. So you have to prove or disprove this hypothesis. That is what we call meditation, or basically Chittanupassana.
Maybe I have an unconventional view about noble silence. For instance, I was thinking, if you look at the space in between words, if there's sound, the space in between is that noble silence. I felt like there was a time I used to play the piano, and if I didn't see the space in between the notes, it would be just 10 fingers back. But it's the space in between the notes that brings the melody, the harmony, the piece out of that piece of music. So in the same fashion, I was thinking that if you can look at the space in between speaking or whatever, you can still be in peace amidst a lot of noise. And I was thinking, like, if after you die, your last thought determines where you're going to get born. Like, if I'm walking calmly and peacefully in a park, and suddenly a group of, say, rock musicians come and play music there, my mind can be disturbed if I haven't trained my mind to live with the space. And if I die at that moment, I could go straight to hell, because I'll be dying with dvesha, the anger in my mind, because I'm not liking that sound. But if even in the rock music, I don't appreciate that, but in between, if you look at the space, there'll be a lot of silence. And what's Chopin to me, the rock music might be to somebody else. So, likewise, I felt that, like, for instance, when you were talking, giving your Dhamma talk, I was really listening to the words in between. Like, for instance, otherwise your words would be running into each other and clogging my mind. But because there was space in between every word, there was that peace coming out of the talk, the teachings. So, am I wrong in thinking like this?
Very difficult to say correct and wrong. How much you are using your theory or your presentation to release your tension, you are correct. If it is just for the theory of this, for the sake of theory, you are wrong. I am not in a position to say good and bad or wrong and correct. Because by committing that, I create unwanted tension. So always use your theory or your presentation, your formula, leading to lack of tension, lack of frustration. And it is tangible. Don't ask someone. As far as you are asking someone, your theory is not complete. Put up with theory that can be put into practice, and the measuring is natural. Go to the least frictional path. Go to the comfort zone. More and more, if it is leading to comfort, everyone will accept. Even whether you accept or not, you are in comfort. So if it is leading to more and more argument and heating and kind of thing, just forget about it, because it's just another thought.
I suppose in the everyday life, you are, like in a workplace or in a home environment or anywhere, you are forced into noise. But if you sort of train...
You have to talk to the mic, otherwise we can't listen.
I think I'm talking to the mic. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Yes, I thought, like, in the everyday life, you're living amongst other people who may not be meditators. Like, if one comes to a retreat, yes, we should honor that and respect and keep the noble silence. But in the everyday life environment, I try to train my mind to live with that silence amidst noise. But it is hard, but I think one can train. Because I keep thinking I'm always conscious of death. And I'm thinking at the moment of death, how will my mind react? And so it's a part of a training, like I'm training here in the meditation center to understand the Dhamma and to let go. I'm thinking, like, in my everyday life to do like that. So it's probably giving a view, an unconventional view more than...
I don't see the difference in the two questions. These are the same. My answer is same. Whatever the way you are analyzing it, if it is leading to the comfort zone, you are correct. If it is leading to more and more proliferation and jarring, it's wrong. So therefore, always see you are going from the friction to frictionless place, to the discomfort to the comfort. If it is leading, you yourself can second it.
I have a second question, Bhante, regarding Vedana Pachaya Passa. You said you can look at it Vedana to Passa or Passa Pachaya Vedana. I was thinking, like, how can one have a feeling whether it's pleasurable or unpleasurable or neutral unless contact, the passa has occurred? Like, for instance, I was thinking when you were talking, if I was driving and I see a whole lot of green on the side or something, I won't react to it pleasurable or unpleasurable or neutral, because I don't know whether that's a tree, that's a group of trees I'm seeing, or whether they're shrubs or some green sort of glimpse I've had while driving through. But because I haven't quite contacted with my eyes, I can't react to it. So I just wondered, how can there be Vedana before the contact has happened?
So take Dhammajiva Sutta and read Venerable Sariputta and see it and keep that open. You are correct up to your contact now. But there are other ways, other facets. So don't deny it or don't appreciate it. Just keep it in your next contact. This is also an option. That's the way you can use the Dhamma in order to increase your scope, rather than to adhere into one and say, this is the truth, rest of the things are bad. Then you are in tension. Keep it open.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Listening to this talk, Bhante, would it be right if I said all this Vedana and Sankara and Nama, the Rupa and consciousness, everything ultimately is just a mass of energy? Would that be right if I said that?
The energy has different names. Avidya is a kind of energy. Sankara is another kind of energy. Vijnana is another kind of energy. Consciousness is another kind of energy. So they are in changing movements depending on the cause and effect. So which one you tackle indicates who you are. So they are not, irrespective of your involvement or not, they are in the cause and effect relationship. It's a universal law. You attract to this particular link because of your likings and disliking, and then you get trapped into that. Most you hold it, you get trapped into that. So therefore, if you can keep everything and keep on observing rather than try to analyze one particular point, or that means the partial analysis, that's called reductionism. It's good, but it is not the only tool you have. So therefore, the question you ask indicates who you are. The day you, before ask the question, if you can analyze why this became a question, because of your special desire, because of your special attachment to that question. So that question make talking, expression, everything, and you rest of the thing gone. So instead, if you can understand this is a question, okay, but the rest of the things are not question. This is the truth. The question is leading you more and more talkative, and you are off the track. So keep the question without asking. So there may be a box. You can keep it there. So you postpone the question and answer session. Question is in the box. You meditate. So one day the Ajahn Brahm been asked to say how to understand an arahant. He is not asking questions. Good way to slam you. Don't argue. That does not indicate all the dumb people aren't. Everyone is having the question. They select particular question because of your liking and disliking. It indicates who you are. So therefore, at the beginning you understand in the open drama, open stage. Later you internalize before asking the question, what is the source? It's a desire or conceit or egotistic. And when it is happening, you feel frills and thrills how the Dhamma is working without the second person. But your past memory is the mirror. You understand? Earlier you asked to others, but now I boil myself and to see the root cause of this question. That means the question is making more inquiry, independent of a second person or book knowledge. You make yourself. And for that you should have enough confidence. You must understand you are the knowledge. You have the complete universal knowledge. Whenever you refer to others, you make inferiority. You become inferior. And that's not a kind of a conceit. But love yourself. Love what is in your hand. Love your knowledge. And then ultimately you will understand, if you know how to ask the question from you, answer is there. Am I hitting you? Am I...
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. But the other question, from this I was coming to the next one was, so when we die, it's just the energy. That's all.
That is the?
It's just the energy.
I didn't get you. That's when you die?
When we die, it's just the energy that just goes away.
So
There's not much drama.
Die now. You are waiting to die. Dying to be me.
Oh, Bhante, I am just analyzing it.
No, I mean, I am also analyzing. I am in the dialogue. So the one book is there. It is translated to 50 languages. Dying to be me. At the death, she understands. Not crying to be die. Death is kind of thing. So each and every moment, that's the Buddha says, Nirodha Satya. See the disease, the disappearance, cessation, weaning off. That is the answer. But we are always to the arising part. So arising, anything arising is suffering. Anything disappearing is suffering. So why not love disappearance or cessation? So it appears like unauspicious, not welcome according to the present day society, because our present day society is very happy with the birth, but unhappy with the death. Very happy with the inaugurations, but they don't care about what is happening, what they have inaugurated. This is the world. So the Buddha said, let that whole drama go and just see the cessation part. Just see the cessation of the breath. And feel your mind occupied with that. Then all the problems are solved.
Thank you, Bhante.
You are not happy to say that. But for that I am very happy. Yeah.
Is it better with microphone or?
You can try both and I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will try both.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little misconception in the Western culture in general. Like when you meditate, you're supposed to be always calm and kind and never say the bad word and things like that. And actually, after I started meditating, I would become sometimes more and more angry. But after meditation, I was aware of this anger. And it felt like exactly like sort of catharsis and like sort of feeling that, but later on came this pressure that you meditator, you're not supposed to get angry. You're not supposed to say like this. You're not supposed to hurt other people. But then I feel like this person was meant to hear that. And I felt I was meant to say that, and that made me light, and the other person, I think, lighter. I had once this, almost like a fight when we threw with the other guy. But in a certain moment, I was so aware of my body when I'm throwing things. I felt my heart pumping. I was like, my body was just acting by itself. And it was totally wrong experience. In the middle of that, I just looked at it and stopped, and he looked at it and stopped. And later on we had conversation about how funny it was, how we both were aware of each other, of our bodies acting, but we were not acting actually. And we were and then you do this. I'm like, yeah, and we're just laughing. We're like best friends. Couple minutes after this big anger arose. It was like totally this catharsis that as you were talking about. But there was before in me always this guilt that I'm doing something wrong. I'm not supposed to get angry. I'm not supposed to shout. I'm supposed to accept other people maybe telling me off, but I'm supposed to always bow and be kind. But I don't know.
So that is why I get two viewpoints. One thing is, if you are practicing in the forest, trees and rocks and everything never antagonize you. If you are living with other sentient beings, they will say, you are a yogi, don't break precepts, you must be very calm and quiet. But the trees never expect anything out of that. So imagine your other yogis are just like trees. If they are not going to give their reflection back, and you can see they are mature enough to understand, because you are in a process to understand they are the dreams coming and passing away. After passing away, you can either feel guilt if you are taking them as me, mine, myself. If you know it is a passing, so it's what a relief. Because that's the one aspect. The second thing is doing and happening. Within a day, how much you do, seeing, how much you look, how much you see. How much you listen, how much you hear, how much you touch, how much you get the tactile sensation, how much you think or passive thinking happens. What will be the proportion you think? Look and see, hear and listen. And before analyzing, I will say, only your guilt is related to the looking. Your guilt and regret is only with the listening and touching, thinking. And if you know the proportion, what you see is 95% than what you look. What you hear is more than 95% what you listen. Tactile sensation, less than 5% you touch. Other things are happening. More than 95% of your thinking are inert, without a thinker. And when you come to know your frustration come up to 5% just by argumenting. This is a license for Vipassana yogi. If you have done to something to him, and if he hurt, I have to go and say, I am sorry. But if it happened to me, by my body and kindness, still if he hurt, you, for the sake of courtesy, you will say, if I am disturbed you, I am sorry. But for you, no guilt, it is not my intention, but my behavior is irritating something. Sometimes you feel you are responsible, but the Buddha says, theoretically you are not responsible, but for the sake of courtesy, go and apologize, and you may understand this whole life, more than the doer, things are happening. Moment you accept it, before the enlightenment, you understand the Buddha. The appearance of Buddha itself is a blessing. The appearing of the Dhamma itself is a blessing. The appearance of the Sangha itself is a blessing, because Putujjana is make reason to be worrying, taking the doing and happening both as me, myself and mine. You get the point?
Sort of to just accept this situation as happening and just be observant of it, of this.
So that is
guilt.
the function of mindfulness. Mindfulness make whether you do or it is happening, whether you look or you see, whether you listen or you hear, or passive voice and active voice are the most difficult thing in the grammar. And you see, you are to understand whether it is something happened to me or did I initiated it, I did it volitionally. And if it is volitionally, restrainment is reduced as much as possible. The Buddha says, just like a turtle pulling back its own limbs inside, and kumbho angani sakhe kalapi samadaham bhikkhu manovitakke. So manovitakke means your intentional work, pull it back, and then even the jackal comes or anything, it can't damage you because you are self-contented. When you push it outside, expect anything.
Thank you.
So among the yogis, we can play this game. Not that we are not going to make any mistakes. You see, they are maybe happening, maybe doing, and you must have action replay, slow motion. You know, when the cricket games are going there, if something goes wrong, they take the clip back, action replay, slow motion, then you can see what is the intention. So memory is going to give you action replay, slow motion, clip is there, because your memory, your mindfulness is there, so you can bring it back and say, did I look or see? I listen or hear? So then the Buddha says, as far as the seeing are concerned, don't worry. Main thing is not to worry. If you look at it, that should come under the restrainment. So how can you tell other person without knowing whether it is looking or seeing, listening or hearing, to do or don't do things, because it is none of your business. It's individually, completely independent, but out of compassion you can say, or in general you can say, restrain yourself regarding volitional activities, intentional activities, and that also you can't do away, you are just reducing. No new initiatives. Let the thing happen. It is called Taoism, I think you'd have heard. Tao is the Japanese merging into the law of nature. Don't start anything new, because anything new started, you are responsible, you are getting committed. The things are happening much, much, much better without you. And the most good joke is, for the last 6-7 days, your family members would have been very happy because you bloody crooks are not at home. Sure. And today they will take Panadol doses special. Because they know today onward, it's a hell starts. You go and say, do this, don't do this, before that, after that. You also crucified, and you're going to give commands. So when you die, the world will be more at peace. So why living like a dead person? A dumb person who can't see. And then people will outcast you, telling that, what the nonsense, that you are not making use your organs and kind of thing. But you know you are behind the Buddha, you are under the restrainment. As much as possible, don't expect the whole day. Never it happens. So then you have 2 lives. That mindfulness is a great, great, great companion. Always you have the ability to action replay slow motion, and you can get the clip back and play again. See, how was my performance? Imagine that when you are walking, you let body to walk and observe yourself. This is like action replay slow motion. The body is walking. To the body knowledge, it is effortlessly happening. So this is what you call the music. This is what you call the aesthetic drawings and sculpture. The artist is no more. So she tried to mention about the gaps in between. If you are listening to the Beethoven music pasture, Symphony number 7, pastoral music, he starts with a very rhythmic thing, almost like a heartbeat, and then he reduces, and in the center of the clip, there's a one moment of silence. And then again slowly start back to the heartbeat, and that silence is the biggest music. It's bringing very slowly. So you can see that we can cross the message through music also. We can give the message through art. We can give the message through sculpture or any kind of thing. But it is, you can't be in silence unless there is a noise. So you have to understand, noise is 50% of your enlightenment. If you have to appreciate silence. So silence can't exist without noise. So you hate science and love music, that silence, you're crazy. You need only one side of the coin. Without these troubles, how can we appreciate the retreat? When you go back, there should have a hell of trouble, then only the retreat will appear like something alternative. If the back home also has a retreat, for me, that is it. So this retreat is nothing. Because when you go there, and Adelaide, again, another retreat. When I go back to Melbourne, another retreat. So, you will say this retreat is the best. All poi. All nonsense. Okay, finish. Back to the Ramani. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We know you're not coming next year, but we will see you again. Well, we don't know who will be here, who will not be here, but so we formally ask your forgiveness always. So we hope, fortunately you're not a person with expectations, so there's no problem. Hope that for the other retreatants also, if there were any
Questions.
omissions on our part of the management, those of us who managed it, so we ask your forgiveness, and you are considered forgiven for what you didn't do also. It's been a very nice retreat as always, Bhante, and noble silence is growing. And it's good to know that even people like Mahasi Sayadaw said that it's not total silence, but noble silence, to know what we speak, and to respect another's silence. And I think we've been mostly doing that. Little bits of speaking, but that's okay as long as it doesn't disturb others. And it's been really very nice. We're all growing. We're all growing, and we can all feel that they're maturing.
Don't you feel that my Dhammajiva is growing? You don't feel, I feel it. Each time I come, they even listen to my own Dhamma talks, I feel some evolution. It is basic, the approximate factor is you people. If I am to go in with live in the fish market and to talk like this, there won't be any kind of a reception kind of thing I will never think about. So therefore I also have to thank, and if by conducting and talking, if I have ever hurt you, very sorry. But tomorrow also I will do the same, therefore whether I ask your pardon or not, no matter.
It's reciprocal, Bhante, because if you gave these talks 6 years ago, then it just been too much for us. But you can feel our understanding, and yeah, it is going deeper and deeper. And we understand better and better.
So then why you asking to come back in the next year to this place and here, make whole universe as a meditation retreat. So whatever may be, if you appoint a place, you miss the bus. The whole universe is a meditation center. Wherever you may be, if you are mindful, we are in the same family. Distance, time, posture. So we have to go beyond that and then ultimately we make good vibration for the others, non-practitioners. And whenever you make a discrimination, you lost the game. They are the nutriments. The lotus is taking the nutriments from the mud. Though it is up there and not smeared with the water, the lotus is the exam. Don't pull yourself from the mud, then finish. Anyway, my talking is no problem, but to formally finish this thing, may someone pass the mic to Ramani?
Bhante, I think I'll give it to Ananda to sort of start the Okasa.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of us will remember Barbara Morganari, who was with us from, I think, the very first retreat, sitting right in front, our Suduachi, and very inspiring figure. And if you see a little memorial there, if you've been walking, you would have seen it. And she respected Bhante very greatly, and the last week of her death, I told her I had spoken to Bhante, and her face lit up. And in fact, she had told someone, I think he was the son I never had. Yeah. She was so close to Bhante and respected him very much. So we think of her when we share merits, that if she's somewhere watching, she'll be smiling, and may she, rejoice that we have all practiced as she would have practiced too. So Bhante.
She wanted to be a meditation teacher in the next life.
Really?
Yeah, one day I asked. Then I told, you are already a meditation teacher now. She told she has only one companion, teaching, and slowly communicating with it. Then I told, your mere presence with ourselves is an example. And she never talked. One day I was telling the Sri Lankan ladies are very bad, they are talking, and don't do it like that, because I love them, the way they express the Buddhist way for us. So therefore they are not bad, they are very good. I know I also love it, but that is my way. But Barbara pointing me out. So Barbara was a meditation teacher already, so therefore we will try to follow her role model.
Bhante will formally ask your forgiveness, and it's coming on 10:30. So we'll.
Yeah.
I would also like to thank others who are not on the retreat, the people who did the cleaning between retreats. The person who's coming to clean after, he just saw this plane. I brought him here to give a quote, and he looked around and said, my God, there's a lot of work on that. He said, I'll give you a quote tomorrow. And he phoned back and said, I can't charge. He said, you all are meditating. And he was almost, with tears of joy. He and his wife came, they have a little company. He was absolutely delighted.
Better than the yogis.
That's an amazing charity, amazing dana, because the usual professionals, they charge $30 to $35 an hour for cleaning. He said there's at least 15 hours of cleaning here. That's a huge dana he's given, and I'd like to appreciate him and the people, the young men who came in between. It's the same. It's given a huge dana out there. We don't appreciate that service. Helping others is such an important.
So imagine that for the 6 or more years I am also visiting, the maintenance, the place is almost the new place like. So we must appreciate it. That is the way Dhamma. We need no any department for maintenance. By practicing, by making use it, things will get renovated.
And there's also a young man, 14 years old, out there who's editing the CDs for us. He came last night, and we appreciate this making progress in the Dhamma along with his parents.
So definitely we are living to a better generation. We are the burden. And future generation must be more open to and keep the situation as open as possible. So definitely we can die peacefully.
Yeah, also advantage that during the last retreat, a gentleman suffered a heart attack. And when the father was in the hospital, the daughter, he's here on holiday, and the daughter and son-in-law, on that day, the soup that everyone tasted on the very first day of the retreat was made by the daughter when the father was in the hospital. I thought that was very inspiring. And in fact, I spoke to Ramani and said, let's cancel this, let's do it ourselves. But Ramani said, no, let's allow this lady to do it so that it will be done.
It's a good way of alleviating and engage with this something beneficial. And ultimately there's no time for grieving.
And it was the husband, the son-in-law, who did all the overnight previous retreats series. And very inspiring people that we have here.
And the people who brought Dan for us, Bhante, brought
More than.
above and beyond what was asked. You ask for one, they bring two. I said 2 small pots of yoga, they bring 2 buckets of yoga. There's so many things not to be said to the nuns monastery. The people's, it really moves me how generous people are in their time. Everybody here, and there's so many who helped us organize it. Anand and I are just the public face mostly. Lakmali did the last one, then Amita and Lal. Each one did so much, and the Kapakabus. It's without all of us, this can't happen so easily.
division of labor. So I appreciate the younger generation. They came and spent about 2 hours with me about how to carry this message to the school children in Sri Lanka. And they came out with a lot of ideas. And I am going to start with that kind of a group and to give it in the grassroots level for the schools, those who are willing to happy with us and to share and make use them as the secretariat here to monitor from there. Meanwhile, I will try my best to get it from top to bottom, from the government to the local level also. So their contribution was very, very open, very the opening kind of. Okay.
Sorry.
I would also like to thank Ramani, Ananda, and the team of yogis. Ramani especially, I used to see the first thing in the morning.
Make it more fussy. So Ramani especially thank for make fuss.
All the yogis, the team of yogis that have been everywhere to give us this opportunity to meditate in peace. So many blessings to all of you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.